Okay. So, so back to the conversation. Don't question that. That's almost nothing compared to how corrupt these people really are. This fraud and that sort of thing, they don't. I question that even bothers them a bit. Some of that money, a lot of it comes from the federal government. It doesn't come from the state. And they've apparently got some bank that they borrow money from called the Federal Reserve. It's basically a loan shark operation that they get money from and then pin the debt on people. So it's like some kind of a country. They set up a country so that they could set up a Federal Reserve so that they could actually just basically steal $39 trillion is what it looks like. It doesn't look like there's much reason for this country to exist. There doesn't look like much reason for almost any country to exist except for to put it in debt. For the wealthy. And it certainly looks like that's what they're doing. And so they let people live lives. I mean, of course, once you're born, it ain't like you can go back. So they encourage birth, whatever way they can get it, and then let everybody have their own little place in the world, with the exception of some that might interrupt their game like me. And on behalf of God, that they actually will not apparently recognize me, which they don't do even through history. Like Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that stoneth the prophets and killeth them which are sent to thee. That sort of thing. Except, who knows exactly what scenario that fits into. But yeah, I'm already not questioning it. I already see them where they take my content and they don't credit me. A lot of these platforms are basically playing along. They look like they're neutral or independent, but they're likely just playing that role, like Alex Jones or Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens or Megyn Kelly. They appear like they're some sort of breakaway independent journalists. And now they've even mentioned breakaway civilizations. They have stolen my content, and most of the time when they steal my content, they mix it in with their absurdities or things that I would consider something I would not consider accurate almost at all. And the one person that used my content concerning breakaway civilizations was mixing it up with like space and that sort of thing, and I am not anywhere interested in space or NASA or any of their operations. But that's basically what they do. They basically take my content. Most of them, all of them, almost all of them, I don't question, know that I'm a political prisoner. political and religious prisoner and being kept in a concentration camp, most of all of them know that. I won't question, they're aware of it to some degree. And knowing that, still either use my content or add it to theirs, and or ignore me and my request for like equal time or something, whatever they call it on their platform, to be a guest, and they'll just reject that, or they won't even acknowledge that I've even made an effort to contact them, possibly in a way to just keep it away from having any evidence that I was that they were even aware of me ever. And you know, that's how they do it. And then you wonder why all these people, they just keep letting things go by that are a big deal at one time, and then it's just, oh, it ain't a big deal anymore, and to them apparently. And then you know how they do these protests, and they have their little minions surrounding these forts, you know, fortresses, yelling and doing whatever to make some sort of a scene. And it's basically just a scene out of some dystopian movie, like, you know, Running Man or that sort of thing, where, you know, the people who rule everybody else are basically behind the fences and protected and have what they need, and then there's the people on the outside, like the protesters and that sort of thing that we're getting now. And I don't question that's also to set precedent, because these protesters are basically just imitating or making some attempt to resist something or someone that they're not necessarily empowered to resist. You know, there may be another factor involved that they don't, another ingredient involved that they don't have, so that's why they're not going to likely be successful. And they may also already know that, which is why they're, you know, you see like Don Lemon going into the church, oh, what kind of Christians are you, or something these people were saying, and it's none of their business. But they want to make it their business because they want to get people's opinion about what the situation entails. They're not going to do much of anything. If you allow yourself to be subject to these people that are heading up these protests or these resistance groups or that sort of thing, you know, like I mentioned in my other video, you're likely going nowhere. They already know these people. If you have anything to do with these people, it's likely they've been put there to lead you into the pit. They're not going to lead you. You're not going to likely be a success. You know, they may take whatever you've gained in your life for doing good and account it to their own account, because they got you to submit to them somehow. That's basically all they want. They want people to be deceived by them enough to say, oh, you know, I acknowledge you as this person that you know, is aware of what's going on and that sort of thing, and they're just shills or operatives. Most of them will never get in trouble, and if they do, you know, it's likely just a show